Timmons, one of the writers for DenverStiffs.com. He is in Las Vegas watching the Nuggets go up and down the court. The young Nugget, the Nuggets. How about we go with that, Nate?
Hey, the Nuggets. That works.
Hey. Why do you look hungover?
It's
I'm
Vegas,
good, man. I went to bed early. I got the tree behind me here. I'm good.
When you say early, you went to bed at 4 o'clock in the morning?
That's early for Vegas.
Somewhere around there, perhaps.
All right, Nate, your impressions of Mudiay as you watch him these first couple games in a Nuggets uniform.
I think he's been pretty amazing. I mean, even going from the first game to the second game. In the second game, there was a lot of reporters at that contest, and after the game, they were all in the Nuggets locker room area. Everybody wanted to speak to Mudiay. He had 19 points, 10 assists. You know, he's been incredible just from what you guys were talking about with Ty Lawson. You're saying he's not a leader. Mudiay, the exact opposite. He's already out there coaching guys on the floor. He was putting Gary Harris in different positions. He moved Eric Green around a little bit on the floor. So he's taken over the team already, plus the fact that he's, you know, whipping these passes around, sneaking through the lane, firing passes back out to the perimeter, blind, right in guys' shooting motion. It's a thing of beauty so far for Mudiay.
Nate, I would agree that Mudiay is a future leader of this team. And yes, as a rookie, he can lead the Summer League team in Vegas. But how do you think that's going to translate when it comes to Gallinari, Chandler, and Fareed and the rest of the veterans?
You know, I think that's why they brought Jameer Nelson back, is to help him with that transition of how to be a leader with guys that are, you know, 6, 7, 8 years, 10 years older than you are. I mean, he's going to have to learn that process, and he's going to have to command that respect. Ty Lawson, that was something that he talked about when he came to the Nuggets as a rookie, was, you know, not feeling very comfortable telling older guys what to do. So Mudiay we have to wait and see, you know, how he is in that regard, but he hasn't had any problems with it so far. But you're right. It's a different animal once the regular season starts and once training camp begins.
Nate, the whole Nuggets brass is out there, including the new head coach, Mike Malone, and Tim Connelly, the general manager. Have you had a chance to talk with them to get their impressions of Mudiay?
Briefly, I talked with Tim Connelly about Mudiay. He's been, you know, kind of mirroring the same, you know, saying, yeah, his passing's great. How's he moving the ball around? That's been good from that aspect. Mike Malone hasn't been as open with talking about Mudiay yet. I haven't talked with him, but Mike Anor, the assistant coach who is coaching the Summer League team, has been pretty impressed with Mudiay, and again is mirroring the same things. You know, guys are going to love to play with him because he shares the ball, as well as the fact that, you know, he is a leader out there on the floor.
He's Nate Timmons of DenverStiffs.com in Las Vegas watching the Nuggets play in the Summer League, and all guests are brought to you by Papa John's, the official sponsor of the Colorado Rockies. Tell you more about that in a second.
Nate, how concerned are you if Ty Lawson winds up on the roster to start this season, knowing that you have a young player in Mudiay and you really don't want to fill his head with all the Lawson garbage that he is throwing out there?
I'd be very concerned. I think that it's something that has to get done before the regular season starts, and I'd like to see something get done before training camp begins, just because it's going to be hanging over the team. Even yesterday after the game, Mudiay was asked by a couple reporters if he's talked to Ty Lawson yet, and he said no, he has not talked to Ty Lawson. You know, and when you see yesterday too, or the day before, Ty Lawson, his tweet about not seeing the Nuggets game, and then yesterday Wilson Chandler's tweeting that he really likes Emmanuel Mudiay and the kid has great vision. So it just kind of shows you perhaps where some of the players' priorities are with this team.
Nate, they have to get rid of Ty Lawson. It's become unhealthy already. It's not a good situation. The question is Ty Lawson painting the Nuggets into a corner here? Is it going to come to a point where they just have to give him away?
It's probably going to be pretty close to that, although I think there are some teams. Look at the Houston Rockets. They could use Ty Lawson. They have some young pieces, some assets that perhaps the Nuggets would be interested in, whether it's Clint Capella, you know, Sam Decker, Terrence Jones, maybe in one of their draft picks. They own their own picks. So there could be some partners out there where Ty Lawson could go. But you're right, they don't really have a lot of leverage in any deal right now.
Clearly you have interest in going to the Summer League because it's in Vegas, right?
Yeah.
Knowing Nate, he'd go if it was in Siberia.
Listen, I've known Nate for a very long time, and he would not go to Siberia. He would go to Las Vegas. I know you've been there more than a few times for Summer League. But would you really be that interested in covering this team out in Vegas if Mudiay wasn't on the roster? Let's say it was Winslow or Hazonia or Cauley Stein or somebody else.
Hazonia, yeah, very much so. I was very high on Hazonia coming in. Winslow, yeah, same thing. I mean, anytime you get a top 10 pick, you got to cover him. But with Moutier, it's a different story. I mean, he was a guy that I wouldn't have blinked an eye if he would have went second overall to the Lakers. I really wouldn't have. So getting a guy of that caliber in here and getting to see him live in Las Vegas in a gym the size of a high school gym, it's been incredible.
Hey, Nate, earlier Eric said, Moutier seems to say all the right things and do all the right things. Is this who this kid is? You've been around him a little bit now, or is he being coached up very, very well?
That's the hard part to judge. Has he been coached up? Is he being genuine? He really seems to care about, as he said, winning championships and wanting to get on the path to win games. As we know, the Nuggets have never even been to an NBA Finals, so he's got an uphill battle in that regard. And we'll see how he progresses and kind of how his personality comes to form as he gets comfortable with the Denver media and comfortable with the NBA game.
Nate, it's understandable that everyone is having a Moutier love fest right now, and that's what everybody wants to talk about. But have you seen another guy out there that makes you believe this guy could actually have an impact for the Nuggets this season?
Well, there's two guys. There's Gary Harris, who I think needs some minutes this year to figure out whether or not he can be a part of the future going forward with Denver. He's kind of had an up and down summer so far in just 2 games. He played well in the first game against Atlanta. He struggled a little bit shooting the ball yesterday, something that everybody's kind of watching is his shooting stroke. So he's a guy that I think you definitely want to pay attention to, as well as the second-round pick from last year, the 41st pick, Nikola Jokic. He's shown a lot out here already just with his passing ability. He's not the strongest guy yet. It's going to take him some time to be able to bang down low with big guys. And another guy to watch for is Joffrey Laverne, the Frenchman. He might be the Nuggets starting center if Jusuf Nurkic is unable to recover from that patella tendon surgery right away. And that's a guy that I think can play center and can give these guys very good minutes.
Nate, the Nuggets played the Sacramento Kings last night. Willie Cauley-Stein was on the floor for the Kings. The whole Kings brass was in the stands. We saw George Karl. We saw Vlade Divac. Do you think, I know it's early, but I'm throwing this out there anyway, do you think the Kings brass was watching Cauley-Stein and Moutier and going, maybe we should have taken Moutier instead? Do you think they're having any buyer's remorse at all?
I think you'd have to be. I mean, Cauley-Stein is a guy, he looked okay, he looked fine, but the Kings were desperately in need of a point guard, and they may have passed on the best one in the draft.
I'm going to give you a piece of unsolicited advice. We've known each other, 10 years now? Is that right, Nate?
Yeah, just about.
If you see Javon Walker out there and he invites you to party with him, I'd stay away because you might wind up in a car and then eventually on the side of the road. That's the way he rolls in Vegas.
Yeah, I'll definitely try to stay away from him.
Stay away from Javon.
Hey, Nate, I'm going to be out there this coming weekend. So I'm going to try and get by the Nuggets on Saturday, and hopefully I'll see you, all right? Is Nate gone? Okay, maybe he doesn't want to get together with me.
You don't care about that stuff.
No. I think I'm going to go.
No, you
can go over
listen,
there and watch.
You're a Jewish guy from the North Shore. You care about the good shows. That's what you care about.
That's why I'm hoping.
Who is Dolly Parton going to be at the MGM?
I'm hoping the Nuggets play in the afternoon, and I can go see Cirque du Soleil at night.
You've gone to see Bette Midler at the Pepsi Center. That's the way you roll.
Great show. All guests brought to you by Papa John's, the official sponsor of the Colorado Rockies. The day after every Rockies win, you can get 50% off your regular menu price online order, but you have to go to papajohns.com and use the promo code ROXWIN, ROXWIN, and you can do that today because the Rockies won yesterday.